When was the last time that both Illinois basketball and Illinois football were selling out games together? Locked On Illini, let's go.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen every single day. Simple reminder, we are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me at IlliniCast, and you can find me at TheSunnyV, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just do a search for Locked On Illini. If you'd like to support the channel, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching this on YouTube, find us on your favorite audio platform and hit that download button and subscribe button there as well. Fun episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the Illini fan base and its continuing growth in the college landscape. Also, Terrence Brooks didn't start in the opener against Eastern Illinois. He really didn't play until late in the game. Should we be worried? Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So on Monday's media session, Brett Bielema made an announcement that the Illinois football game against Kansas on Saturday night was about 1,000 tickets shy of having a sellout at Memorial Stadium. And sure enough, at some point on Tuesday, Illinois did announce that there's not a single ticket available now. Now, this is going to be the first sellout of Memorial Stadium since, I believe, 2016. Please feel free to fact check me if I'm wrong, but 2016, it's a very, very long time. And, of course, it was just a couple days earlier when the Illini basketball team announced that their entire season of season tickets was sold out. Of course, this is a big deal for Illinois athletics, and it's not just us noticing. This article is about a week old, but from Andy Katz on August 27th, it looks like. He released an article of the top 10 most passionate fan bases. And now, if you're in the Illinois circle, you know that we belong in that top 10 list. And sure enough, Andy released Illinois as number 6, much to the surprise of a lot of other fan bases asking what Illinois was doing on that list. And Purdue, I believe, was one higher at number 5. Now, of course, you had some of the usual names, Duke, Kansas, UConn, also in that top 5. But again, it was Purdue and Illinois that got most of the what the heck are they doing here feedback. Now, Purdue, a lot of people were actually understanding. Those folks who went to the national championship game last season, or really to any of the tournament games, all confirmed that Purdue fans really did show up. And even at the national championship game, there was almost a 70-30 discrepancy between Purdue fans and UConn fans. And quite honestly, I've been saying this since Locked On Illini started. I've been saying this since IlliniCast started. Purdue and Illinois fans are kind of like that Spider-Man meme where they just kind of point at each other. They're both super passionate fan bases, and trust me, if Illinois were to make a Final Four, or if they were to make a national championship game, you would see the same sort of discrepancy almost regardless of who they were playing in that final. Doesn't matter if it was Duke, North Carolina, whatever. Illinois fans will show up. And how do I know this? Well, TV executives keep scheduling them. Do you know what TV executives are in the business of doing? Making money. How do TV executives make money? By putting on programming that will sell commercials. There's a reason that Illinois is featured in a lot of prominent and primetime games this upcoming season. And they have been in the past because they know that Illinois drives eyeballs and Illinois drives clicks. Clicks in the sense of look at the content you're consuming online, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube. You have national writers, national college basketball writers who, ironically enough, even though they're covering all of college basketball, release one or two Illinois specific videos almost every single week. Why do you think that is? It's because Illinois fans click on them. Now, basketball we knew was passionate. Of course it is. And it's going to continue to be passionate almost regardless of how successful the program is. But it's the sellout against Kansas on Saturday that really has me proud of the fan base. Now, I know, judging by the views of most of these videos, that I'm one of the few who are equally as passionate about football as I am basketball. The Illinois fan base is kind of apathetic when it comes to football. But I think that 45-0 victory over Eastern Illinois piqued the interest of a lot of potential Illinois fans. We saw what happened last year when Kansas essentially dog-walked Illinois in the second game of the season, but we kind of had a hint that that could possibly happen after we just squeaked by that first game against Toledo. This year's a little different. Again, it was a 45-0 dominant victory against Eastern Illinois, and this time we're going to have Kansas at home. We have an offense that looked really, really good, a defense that looks promising. I think this game is going to be a huge prove-it for the Illini fan base. I do think that we want to get excited about football. We just haven't had the reason to. If we can beat a top 25 team at home on Saturday, I think we'll come close to selling out Central Michigan in week 3. All of a sudden, you could be talking about 2 potential undefeated teams meeting up in Lincoln in week 4 between Nebraska and Illinois. Nebraska is good. They also had a very promising week 1, especially with their young freshman quarterback, Dylan Raiola. But if you recall in my predictions episode, I actually had Illinois beating Nebraska in that game. Then what? Imagine a 4-0 Illinois team. You want to talk about vibes being high for that Michigan game, the Red Green Special 100-year anniversary game. That's how you do it, with success on the field. Basketball, I half expected to sell out. We usually do, but again, the football one is just a huge, huge deal, and it shows that the passion is there for the basketball side. And so there's no reason that it can't be there for the football side. The only difference is, of course, the success of the different sports in regards to the program. But I've talked about this in previous episodes as well. Fan interaction, fan participations, fans showing up matters in what the future of college athletics is going to look like. We can be as passionate as we want about the basketball side, but it's football that drives all the money. It's football that the networks are paying big dollars for. Illinois right now has a very comfortable seat, and we're very fortunate that we're one of the founding members of the Big Ten Conference. There's really, moving forward, 2 conferences that are going to be financially dominating the entire landscape. Illinois being in the Big Ten, which is going to be one of them. But that doesn't promise security for the future. In the end, as been the theme of this segment, eyeballs matter. Financials matter. Illinois needs to be able to be a financial risk worth undertaking for any future conference. Illinois needs to build itself to a brand level that of a Wisconsin type, an Iowa type. There's no reason those programs should be selling out more football games than we do. The only reason they've done that is because of more success on the field. So that is the challenge for Bret Bielema. A lot of fans are going to be hopeful coming into Memorial Stadium on Saturday. If we can pull out that victory against Kansas, you're looking at the possibility of that 6-6 season being even more optimistic. And then all of a sudden, I think the vibes overall become more positive around the program. We lost a little bit of that momentum last year after that 7-1 start 2 years ago, and then fumbling the rest of the season, not even being able to go to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship. We lost a little bit, not just on the field, but even on the recruiting side. But this year, I do feel like the expectations for the program were a little lower coming to this year compared to what they were last year. So last year, expectations were a little higher, but we fumbled. And again, barely missing a bowl game really mattered. And it seemed like a lot of people were down on the program, not just Illinois fans, but even nationally. This year, when the optimism isn't quite as high, if Brett can show what people like me have been saying, that the program is in much better shape compared to his predecessors, that he's bringing in legit football players, sure, not the high-end playmakers necessarily compared to the other teams in the Big Ten, but he's still bringing in good, solid football players that's raised the floor of this program considerably. Well, if we were able to eke out 6 wins this year, maybe even 7, we can build that positive momentum and start bringing in those recruits that are going to help elevate us to an 8-win, a 9-win Illinois team. Call me crazy, but I think it can happen. I'm a Cubs fan, and 2016 proved to me that in sports, anything can happen. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Almost all the feedback I got from Illinois' resounding victory over Eastern Illinois was positive. Of course, after a 45-0 drubbing over your opponent, people are in a good mood. But there was one question that kept popping up in both my text messages and people just asking me on Twitter if I knew anything. And that, of course, was the status of Terrence Brooks. Terrence Brooks, as you all recall, was the highly touted transfer, former 4-star from the Texas Longhorns, a guy who started in a playoff game last year. And a lot of folks here were worried about our defensive backs and their lack of experience, and really going out and being aggressive and bringing in a guy like Terrence Brooks showed that the Illinois football program was very serious about its investment in their team. And then game 1 happened, and Terrence Brooks wasn't on the field. And quarter number 2, he wasn't on the field. Was he hurt? What was going on? Well, it turns out that the staff just wants Terrence Brooks to prove it a little bit more with his consistency. Here's a direct quote from Aaron Henry. Kudos to Jeremy Warner for transcribing this. Obviously, we go through fall camp, and as coaches, we try to evaluate things and try to be as unbiased as possible to give ourselves the best chance to operate and win. I think Terrance has been doing a really good job. It's just, I think right now it's some guys, just from a defensive standpoint, some guys that we feel as a staff are just doing a little better. That's not a knock on a young man, because athletically he's truly gifted. But I think when you look at the framework of playing tough, smart, dependable football, it's not a me show, it's a we show. So just overall, as coaches, that was the decision we made. Now, obviously, we had guys like Cox and Patterson start in in Brooks's place, and we're going to have Tyler Strain back for the Kansas game, which of course makes the depth in the cornerback room even more deep, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. But am I worried yet about Terrence Brooks missing most of game one and really not being a part of the game plan? Slightly. I'm not saying warning bells are going off quite yet. I do think ultimately it's clear that he's got the most talent in that room, both as a high school recruit, again, being a 4-star guy. Obviously, if you can play on the field in a playoff game, you're a talented individual, especially for a team as loaded as the Texas Longhorns were. But just because Illinois pays you to come to Champaign doesn't mean that Illinois pays you to play. I hope that makes sense. And it's something I actually find refreshing. Just because you make a certain dollar amount in NIL doesn't guarantee you X amount of minutes on the field. That NIL agreement is to sweeten the deal to get you to come to campus, to come to Champaign and be a part of the football team. But once that first day of classes hits, once practices start, it's the merit on the field that matters. It's how hard you play against your colleagues. Guys like Cox, smaller guy from a MAC school, maybe right now his want is a little higher than Terrence Brooks's. Doesn't mean that's how it's always going to be. And I would be shocked if Terrence Brooks is not the starter at defensive back, not just by the end of the season, but even in a couple games. I think maybe this could just be Brett Bielema and Aaron Henry trying to set a message for not just Terrence Brooks, for the rest of the team as well. So how did Terrence Brooks take it? Quite well. Again, quoting the same article from 24/7, Aaron Henry said, he, as in Terrence, responded like any young man that's highly competitive. I think when you're in that moment, naturally, there's some frustration there. But one thing about me, and one thing I've always kind of learned from the guys that I've been able to work under and coach under, is if you're transparent from the get-go, if you care about that kid from the get-go, when things that are hard and challenging to that young man come up, he's going to take it as an opportunity to grow in it and not an opportunity as frustration and, oh, say the coaches don't like me. So had I not had a relationship with T. Brooks, had I not recruited Terrance, had I not done all these things even prior to the season, yeah, he'd probably be pissed off and really, really upset. But at the end of the day, the goal, in my opinion, this is probably one of the greatest team sports in the world because you can individually be an incredible player. Although you're individually incredible, how do you fit within the framework of what we do collectively, consistently? Not just one time or twice, but consistently. So he's been improving at that. He's taken a step forward yesterday. We got to practice tomorrow. So the more we keep doing that, I think he's going to be in a great situation. Again, not harsh words. You know, sometimes you can read the tone of the room and you can tell when a coaching staff or a particular coach couldn't be upset with the player. I didn't get those sort of vibes. This just seemed like one of those, hey, we're excited to have you, but we want you to show a little bit more. We know you have it in you. We believe in you, but we just want you to prove it out on the field. NIL doesn't matter. What star recruit in high school you were doesn't matter when it comes to Big Ten football. And the fact that Terrence Brooks reacted the way he did, more like a competitor instead of sulking immediately, tells me that in the long run, this relationship's going to work out. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit fanduel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. And that'll just about wrap up today's episode of Locked On Illini. Please, on your way out, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I can't say enough how excited I am to be doing this sort of programming for you guys daily and seeing that even big picture, even outside the Locked On universe that I'm in, that when we're selling out entire seasons worth of basketball tickets and we're selling out our first football game since the mid 2010s, the passion is there for Illini fans. And that's why I continue to do this. And you can help support the channel. Remember, I'm the only one out here doing this daily. Just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Send this to your Illini group chat, whatever it might be. Just know that I'm eternally grateful for all of you. And we're going to have some more Illini content on Thursday, on Friday. Hopefully, women's basketball will have a big commit at some point this week. There's a 4-star and a couple other prospects who will be making official visits to Champaign. I'm going to have all those stories for you and more right here on Locked On Illini. Until then, ILL love you guys.